Hey everyone, this is Paul Smith from Paul Smith Ministry. First, I want to thank you for checking me out. On today's episode, I want to be talking about health and lifestyle and just, exercise and diet, as well as spirituality and kind of how all those things fit together, at least from my perspective. But before I get into that, I know in my last episode, I was sharing how I was preparing to go to I guess, a gathering or what we call an annual conference in my church denomination where we talk about church business and worship and fellowship together. And I really wanted to go to this conference and capture content to share with you all, but it got so busy and there was tons of great stuff that I could have, I think, captured and maybe interviewed some friends or colleagues of mine and really got some good stuff there, but it was just so busy, the schedule, and also I lacked in some energy as trying to get through that conference, especially towards the end. And that's sort of why I want to talk about what I want to talk about in this episode. But even before annual conference, I had this idea of wanting to share about this because I had family, friends, and colleagues on social media. I think we had a long winter, or like if any of them are like me, have allowed our physical health to go by the wayside, and we're starting to feel the consequences of that and wanting to change and improve, which is a good thing, and I really admire what I see other people doing, and I'm trying to make steps to get healthier too. Maybe not at that level as others, but even small steps. So if I can be even a little bit of encouragement for anyone who's closer to where I am in terms of health and ability, then I'm all for that. Uh, but yeah, just thinking about all the stuff. I had all these ideas before annual conference that I wanted to record and capture and share. And then going into annual conference, we had all these great messages and speakers and experiences. Just so much inspiration and encouragement. I know I personally needed it, and I think everyone that participated or engaged in the conference that I was a part of, hopefully they got a similar experience as I did. And yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to share more of that as I make more episodes. But let's jump into today's thing with health and things. So, I've been seeing friends and family and colleagues, as I was saying, posting stuff. I saw diets for like these popular diet regimens that I'm not even. I'll be honest, I'm not that familiar. I've only heard it through what other people share, like the keto diet or CrossFit workout, or I have friends that are running marathons even. So, I have people that are, doing all sorts of level of fitness and exercise and nutrition and diets, and they're doing really great stuff. And I really admire what they're doing. And personally, for me, man, I am. Even my doctor has even told me that I need to really look after my health. In terms of diet and exercise and things like that. So I know it's been on my mind, and I'm sure it's been on others as they, have sought these things to make a impact on their health. I'm sure most of them are doing it to get into better health. So if not, most of us get into this kind of stuff to at least appear better, to have a better appearance, to look good, and feel good. And then once that happens, I think people end up realizing that there's even a greater purpose, which is getting into better physical health. So whatever reason motivates people to get healthier, I think it's a good thing anyway in the end, because I think even if you go in for the wrong reasons, like I do often in my life, eventually you find the right reason, and then that helps us move forward and shift our perspective on things. And so as long as we're doing the right thing, I think that helps us get our feet going and get us on track onto where we're supposed to be. So, I'm thinking about my health, and I'm really encouraged by others that are doing great things. And so one of the things that that I'm doing or my family has been doing is, uh, it was too difficult where I live. It's a pretty long distance to get to an affordable gym that we could work out because that's what I'm used to. My best health was actually before I went to seminary. I was living at home with my mom and my oldest sister, and me and my oldest sister Kim used to work out at the gym almost every day, like 5 days a week. I would say it was about average, and I think at that time of my life was the best physical health that I've been in. And I would even say the same for my oldest sister Kim. We kept each other going. There were days one of us either didn't want to go, and we would kind of go in order to support one another. And so I always think that's a great thing to have a partner in this, is to help us stay on track, especially on those days where we least want to do something. But that's been difficult ever since I went to seminary and then now serving churches as a pastor. It's been very difficult um, to get my exercise in while keeping up with all the responsibilities and work that I have to do as a pastor. And that's not really a good excuse anyway, um, but that's just my explanation, I guess, for it. And so we were in a gym in my previous churches where it was much easier to go. It was like a 10-minute drive maximum to get to the gym, where here it's at least like 30 minutes there and 30 minutes back. So just an hour in travel time and then whatever workout we want to get in. And then comes, the winters here are so brutal. It makes it even more difficult to go out and to do the exercise that we need to do. And so we needed to figure out, well, how can we make it easier? Because that seems to be the issue with getting exercise, is how can we make it easier for us to do what we need to do? And so me and my wife, Kieran, well, actually really her, invested in a treadmill for us. So that's sort of where we're starting, and it's actually been working. It's a lot easier to be at home, to just, jump on the treadmill for however long we can do it for, and to start working out. And I could already tell how out of shape I am now and how much I really need to get into this exercising, because the first few times I've done it so far, I was like, wow, I am not how I used to be a couple of years ago. I'm far from that. So a lot of work to do, but taking good steps and sort of jumping on board with everyone else that I see getting into health and exercise and things like that. So I want to say I do think it's important, and you know I think it's important as a pastor to. I think the church has done a poor job, and I think our church even realizes how important this is teaching the importance of both physical and spiritual health. I think the church has, and including clergy and the members of the church, the laity, um, we have their statistics showing how poor our health is, especially among clergy. And so I think our church has, I know, started an initiative of abundant health, which is addressing the physical health issues that our clergy and our church as a whole suffer from. So, I think that's a great thing, and hopefully we continue promoting that and learning more about it, and sharing more about what that abundant health initiative is all about. So I think this can actually probably count towards that initiative, just talking about physical health. And the other side of it, though, is I also know my non-church friends, I guess I'll say, more of the people I know from the secular world, or from school, or in the business world, or just connections I've made that aren't necessarily connected through the church, is like I said, how these workouts and diets and all these things are all being motivated by appearance, and I noticed that in American culture, that through magazines and movies and celebrities and all that stuff, that we put a lot of emphasis and value in the way we look. And I do think, that there is some nugget of reality there, some truth there, that, the way we look, does help how we feel. And yet, as a pastor, also understand how shallow that can be. If that is the ultimate value, or the ultimate goal of people's lives, um, I am sure that there is a lot lacking and missing from those people's lives. So I'm not too concerned about that, I guess, from people in the church, but I'm definitely have some concern for that, I guess, for folks that if you're watching or from outside the church, and part of that culture, especially in fashion and retail and all the materialistic consumer things. That's obviously a really big concern. And so that's where I believe, it's my job and my role, and the role of the church and people of faith, to start sharing with people how, yes, it is important. Maybe not necessarily our appearance, but our physical health and things like that. But there's something more to life than just our physical health, our physical experiences, this life. I say this all the time when I'm at funerals and someone passes away. I always share my faith, how, in the Christian faith, we believe that this life is not all that there is more to life than this. And even, when I'm preaching from the Bible, and there's, teachings from Jesus and all across the scriptures that talk about that life is more than the foods we eat and the clothes we wear and this body that we have, that there's, a spirituality, there is a divine reality that we ought to be aware of and accept and seek, because that adds meaning and purpose and value to our life, more than just the everyday hustle and bustle and the everyday seeking to become the better self, the better me. There's something greater. And when it comes to spirituality, it is a part of us and ourselves and becoming better, but it also promotes a better humanity, a better community, a better society. And if we make a better society and a better world, where people actually care about each other and want what's best for each other, we're wishing for best health, both physically and spiritually, for each other, then hopefully that can promote us to not be competing against each other and dividing against each other and judging each other about how we look and how we perform, and what our abilities are and what our age and all these other things that people are worried about. I feel this lack of spirituality and a lack of faith in something greater, more meaningful, more valuable for this life, and obviously for the life yet to come. For something greater, that it can inspire us and motivate us to look beyond the barriers that push us away from each other, and the ways that we just try to outcompete and outduel and defeat our opponents, make each other enemies pretty much, so that we can look better or perform better or achieve greater accomplishments by pushing one another down. It would be so much better if we lifted each other up and worked together and sought to make the world a better place together by doing jobs together, by doing work together, and promoting peace and promoting love and promoting relationships where we love and support each other rather than tearing each other down and pulling each other down. So, I believe, in physical health, I believe in spiritual health, I believe in relationships, I believe in making the world a better place. And I think it happens when we promote, better health both physically and spiritually for one another, and just having a healthy balance of everything, having the right amount, not too much, not too little, not being too greedy, but also not being too poor and not having enough either. So when we seek that healthy balance in all areas of our life and in our society, I think then we're moving in the right direction. And I think that's the kind of message we need to be promoting out in the world. So that's sort of my first thoughts about talking about health and fitness and nutrition and spirituality and how that all comes together. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you got some food to think about. And hopefully you're even encouraged to think about your own health, both physically and spiritually, and how to make it better. So until next time, my name's Paul. Thanks for checking me out. Until next time, peace.